So thank you for that excellent explanation of some of the gasification work you're doing. Could you also tell us a little bit about your work in designing and building sustainable homes?
Yes. Back in the day, I was fascinated with straw bale construction. So I built a straw bale house in Waxahachie, Texas. I had a lot of help from people in the straw bale community. And it really was, it worked so well. You might show a picture of the house, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Then I built a larger structure, about 12,000 square feet, and again in straw bale. And of course, when I came to Vietnam, I sold that house, that big house.
Mm-hmm.
And it sold, I think about a year ago for $3.5 million.
Hmm.
So it was, and they never had problems with the straw bale getting wet or any kind of contamination over all of those years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, then I moved back to the little town where I was born in Louisiana, Washington, Louisiana. And I said, no, I don't want to do straw bale again. I want to do rice hull. So I called it simplistically a rice hull house.
Mm-hmm.
But before I did it, I had to go to, I wanted a full set of ASTM testing done on the rice hull. Is the rice hull suitable in terms of insulation? What about the insulation value? What about mold and mildew that might, what about insects
Mm-hmm.
in the rice hull? What about the smoldering combustion? Will rice hulls burn? All of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you might laugh and say, well, I'm using rice hulls in a gas fire. Well, certainly you can't use it in a house. But no, to fuel a gas fire with rice hulls, you need a fan.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we don't put fans in the wall of our houses to burn it down.
Uh-huh.
So you don't have to worry about fire either. So then I come back in Vietnam, I start looking, okay, how do we build a rice hull house? I don't want to use wood. Wood involves chopping down trees. We don't want to chop down a tree to build a house or cook a meal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then what happens? We're going to use very inexpensive galvanized steel profiles. And we put a sheeting on the outside and we put a cladding on the inside of the house. And we have about 20 centimeters of rice hull as insulation.
Mm-hmm.
And of course the weight of there's no brick involved. There's no concrete involved.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to be able to build right now. You look around and you see where are poor farmers. What kind of, okay, if you're making $175 a year, imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what kind of house do you live in?
Probably not a very sophisticated one.
I can show you pictures of houses in some minority communities. It's really dreadful.
Mm-hmm.
A wind comes along, the house blows down. Not long ago, there was a house in a little village that burned down. And so now we're able to make, I want to be able to build, let's say, a house of about 50 square meters for maybe, for about $3,000, maybe $4,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the style of the house could be anything. It could be a square, it could be a rectangle, it could be round, it could be a dome, it could be a Quonset hut.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's so many different ways. So over the last few years, I drew about 20, 25 different rice hull houses. And now we're going to start building some in a little village it's a 3-hour drive. Unfortunately, it's kind of far from Dalat. A 3-hour drive in an area called Dam Rome.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to build a rice hull house there. And then, especially for the poorest people in that village. And then also in the village, we're going to we're going to start doing a complete waste transformation. All of the waste that's produced in that village is transformed at the highest level.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see So there are about 100 farming communities in the village, and I want to see every farmer in that village make a minimum of at least $50,000 a year. And then eventually we'll build more rice hull houses in that village.
Yes.
And
Start with one,
yeah,
demonstrate it,
yeah, we start with one model farm and demonstrate. So,
and teach them how to make it themselves.
yes. And you might say, well, it's kind of sophisticated welding, galvanized steel and all that. Well, there are so many little workshops. There
People can
are
learn
hundreds
these
and
things.
thousands
They're
of these workshops where they can make the parts, the steel parts. And then those parts are assembled on site by the people in that village. We don't need, people coming from the outside to assemble the house. They can do it themselves. And so the idea is to show them how to build their own houses. Super insulated house. Some people say that, the 20 centimeters of rice hull at an R12 per inch is too much insulation. Well, I don't think that's true. You can have a lot. Heat cannot go in the house and heat cannot go out of the house. Basically, that's the idea.
Yeah.